What is going on, everybody? It's JT here with Crypto for Change, and we are here to discuss all things Algorand. There's a lot of things happening in the ecosystem. Zone just launched their token, and of course, that was a little bit of a fiasco. Yieldly just launched a whole bunch of new pools. The Algorand Foundation announced a new CEO, and so much more. So just leave your questions and comments in the chat. We will certainly bring them up as we go along. And how you doing, David?
Doing good. Obviously digesting the whole zone fiasco today has been an ordeal. Thankfully, it's I live in Florida and I have a really nice pool, so I had to get away from the computer and just go chill and hang out and get away from all the FUD and everything that was getting kind of spilled early. But it's since calmed down. I think people have digested that it happened. Not every token has the best launch, and I would even say, before I dive into maybe things that happened that sucked, Algorand didn't have the best of launches, so, and yet look how bullish we are on Algorand. So I want to lead with that before, I'm still uber bullish. I even saw another tweet from the Recoup Cooper Daniels saying, he's super bullish. He wouldn't have put his money into it and done the Twitter Spaces. I wouldn't have, been as bullish probably if I didn't interview the CEO, and talk to Adi myself, and I've talked to the team, still bullish. But yeah, let's jump right into what happened. I mean, so I woke up, was ready for it to drop, was going to drop 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for me. And then I was up at like 6 maybe, just kind of getting ready, and saw and noticed that, hey, they were going to have to launch 30 minutes early on Tiny Man than Gate was. So they were both set for 7. And then out of the, kind of out of nowhere, they kind of put out the post saying that they were going to launch on Tiny Man. But that also meant that they were going to launch, they were going to give the tokens out. So maybe, a lot of people are speculating. I'm not going to jump the gun and guess why, they had to do that. I'm going to wait. They put out a message saying they're going to let everybody know why they had to do that, and all that here coming up with details on Twitter. So I'm going to wait for them to post that. But, that kind of was the first, well, okay, this is kind of weird. So, and honestly, from that, when that happened, I was actually talking to a few people on Twitter. I was not, worried about it, but it definitely made me question, okay, they're changing something last minute. I'm going to ease into it. So I didn't jump all the way in when it launched. I swapped 25 Algo right when it launched, and it kept getting denied on Tiny Man just because of slippage, and there was so much volatility there. So that was kind of expected. So finally got it in a little bit later, and then added a little bit more as it went on. And then when 7 o'clock came, we saw the launch on Gate. And this is where it got really interesting. And also, to this point, anyone who had invested in the IDOs for Algorand, like that, when they did the IDO for Algorand and Zone, those tokens had yet to be delivered. So there was, they said they were dealing with bots and scam, or things that were just not, making it to where they couldn't get the tokens out to the people who they should have been at 6:30 a.m. And so up that first half hour, there was a lot of people complaining, they didn't have tokens, they didn't have, they weren't able to swap, because it did run a decent amount right out the gate. And then you had Gate launch. So when it launched on Gate, that's where it was really weird, because the price should have launched at 0.0385, I'm pretty sure. And instead, it ended up launching at like 0.003. And like the first buy was like 0.00411 something. And that caused the whole fiasco as well, because then you're looking at the gains, because it ran all the way to like 20 something cents. So at that point, Gate is showing like 3,500% climb. And realistically, if it would have launched at the price that it should have on Gate at 0.0385, that would have meant it would have ran to $1 something, which would have been great for the people as long as they'd have had their tokens and been able to swap. That'd have been a massive, massive gain. So the frustration, I get it. Like, there was a lot of hype. And I was also kind of nervous even going into it. I don't know about you, but I'd never seen a crypto with this much hype launched solely on Tiny Man and an exchange, and especially launching on Tiny Man first. I mean, DeFi was really maybe the one that had the most hype, and obviously its launch went well because it didn't have maybe the whole centralized exchange to factor into it. But yeah, it was messy. A lot of people didn't get their tokens until like 8:40, 8 to 8:40, which is like 2 hours past when it was supposed to, because of the whole issue with the bots and stuff. So yeah, there was a lot of questions, and rightfully so. A lot of concern being thrown out.
Did you end up getting an NFT?
No, I did not. I don't know if you saw my tweet, but it was I kind of tweeted out and said, let me go find it. It's like all the people who aped in zone this morning, knowing they aped into AFK elephants yesterday, just because it's almost a similar structure with how they how you do the sending you the algos to the wallet, and then you just gotta wait for them to send you the NFT. Yeah, even the Recoup made a pretty funny tweet about that. But no, I didn't get in any AFK elephants yet, mainly because there's you don't know what rarity you're going to get, and there's just still a lot of I do like certain NFTs and artists. I bought some, but I'm maybe I'm more. That's just not the way I want to risk my money yet, because it's so volatile. You don't know what's going to last, and you've already seen the past few weeks and months in Algorand, like how many rug pulls have we seen of projects that were supposed to be legit and then fizzled out?
Uh, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen many, if any, rug pulls that didn't really have red flags to begin with, to be honest. In fact, there was actually one the other day that I swear, like, as soon as somebody tagged me asking if I knew anything about it, I did research, like, right then and there. It took me like 10 minutes to come up with a couple red flags. I posted them in the comment, and within like 20 minutes, they had rug pulled and it was already gone. They had deleted their Twitter account. It was almost as if they had read my tweet and just like decided to pull the rug then. It was like, geez.
My gosh. Yeah, it's so, and it's crazy. And I don't think zone is a rug. Obviously, I'm still bullish on it. I've been buying in a little bit with it now settling back down. And I do see long-term potential. And that's where you still have to, you have to take a step back. You have to be able to realize that this is like, I feel like when I say it and when other people say that crypto's in the wild wild west, there's no regulation. Like, this is the stuff you have to realize you're risking. It's not so much just to worry about price action, but it's factors that are way out of your control and are in these entities controls, where whether it's the exchange, whether it's the pumpers, and if it is a rug pull, it's hard to really know, and to trust what you're buying into. And so I don't know. I still think it's a great project for the long term, but it just sucks that the launch happened the way it did, because there was a lot of hype. I mean, there was a lot of people ready to make some money. I was hopeful it would be similar to Opulus, maybe have a nice little pop right out the gate, be able to make a flip. I tried flipping, I didn't. I actually could have. That's the sad part. I bought like I think I had like 200 algos worth of zone, and it was worth like 380, 400. And I was like, should I sell? I was like, nah, I'm going to give it a little bit more. And then it slowly started to come back. But this is also right before it was going to launch on Gate. And so then I was like, well, let me see if Gate's going to pump it. And it pumped, but they were both at different levels. Like, Gate was starting at a different price than what Tiny Man. So then I was just, yeah.
Let's roll this back a little bit, because Mikey here is asking, which seed round did you guys get in on? And I just want to say I do not own any zone whatsoever. But he also is asking, and this is, I guess, a question for you, David, because I don't own any zone. I'm not terribly. It's just like I'm not in the gaming sector in general, so it's just not
Right.
not my fancy. But he's asking, why are you bullish on zone? Essentially, he doesn't feel anyone can articulate a good reason to be bullish on the project.
So here's what I would say. Also, U.S. investors were not able to get in on Zone's IDOs. So for us, we couldn't get in on it, which sucks. But that's just regulatory issues. To answer the first question, second thing, some of the reasons, and obviously I have an interview with Adi, who is the CEO of Zone, on my YouTube channel. I also did a breakdown of their white paper, where I kind of break down even more, maybe in depth, some of the things I like about it. But right off the bat, I am a gamer. I do like to game. One of the things that drew me to it was their integration to be able to challenge people using the Zone token. And, that right there has utility, where you can use the Zone token to challenge your friends in games, whether it's Clash Royale, Counter-Strike, and I'm sure they could factor in many, many other games like, League of Legends, but also just by playing the games, they can have like in their app rewards, where as you're playing, you can track your progress and you can be earning the zone token. So that's, there is utility there, just from the gaming side of it. And obviously, I'm super bullish on that. We saw how popular Axie Infinity was with the ability to play a game and earn a crypto. Like literally, people, I forget which country it launched in, but wherever it was launched, they were literally making more money doing that than they were if they were working a real job. So um, that aspect of gaming with crypto, I think, is big. And then you add on the fact, yes, they have the NFTs with the AFK elephants, which we all know these NFTs can blow up. We've seen what happened with Bored Apes and many other projects, even some of the ones on Algorand with like Algoana. And then you have the Zobo, which is their Discord server, or bot that is in the Discord servers that can help people monetize their Discord servers for, if they have people who want to, add the bot, put in, have the zone token where people can challenge each other in the server, and then all the, the money, that's the fees that are garnered there. Then a percentage goes back to the person who owns the Discord server. So there are reasons why I'm bullish, but it's it's still super early on. So my bullishness is, it's kind of like with all the crypto space. I mean, any project right now, that you see that's getting launched, even DeFi, Algo Stake, some of the other ones, even some of the ones like Webland, that one was one that kind of fizzled out, and people questions Loud DeFi. There's so many things where there's an idea and a concept that seems like, hey, this could be really cool and it could work, and then you put together, okay, it has a good team behind it, this is great. And when you have those two things together, that's what makes me bullish. I think Zone has a good product. They can market it, it can be used, there's a utility for the token. And if you look at XTZ Esports, they have they have the team, they built something already with XTZ Esports, so they have that experience. And I think Adi can, he can be someone who can put that all together in a package for us, if you want to say.
Have you used their testnet?
So here is one thing I will say about when interacting with Zone so far. I have tried using or I did try using the testnet back when they were doing the chess game. Me and Sewell actually were trying multiple times to do the game and actually showcase it on the channel and just kind of play through it just to show how it worked. We could never get through the bugs. They had a lot of bugs with the testnet, and even when they said some of them were fixed, we could never get to do it or get it to work. Now I do know some people were able to. It wasn't like you couldn't, but I could not get the chess game testnet version to work. So this is another thing where it's like, when investing in projects like these, you know, yes, we all want the 1000x, or like an Opulus that starts at 5 cents and maybe you get in at 30 and it runs to $7 and you sell and you make thousands of dollars. Like, yes, we want that every time, but like realistically, the crypto market has kind of spoiled investors to expect that. And I think that's why you saw so much negativity to, once there was any slight hiccup with Zone's launch, they immediately start screaming scam because they're not making 1000x on their money.
Yeah, I can somewhat agree with that. The only reason I ask about the testnet is because I just pulled it up over here, and for some reason I'm having trouble. Like when I click on testnet right here,
Yeah.
and then I click on, I get rid of this pop up. I click on challenge now, click on connect wallet, and I can't get past this point. Nothing, for some reason,
Yeah.
nothing comes up.
And this is where because we could actually get past the Connect wallet. We actually were able to send the invite, and one of us would be waiting in the game, and then it would never load up for the other one, because you also have have to have the testnet algos. And so this is something where,
I have some testnet algos. I've been playing around with testnet Folks Finance and things like
yeah.
that.
And so you have to have that. But, and kind of going back to that initial thought, even with like what you have said and with many of your concerns with like Opulus and Smilecoin, there are so many projects that are launching their tokens and creating so much hype without any product actually out there for people to use. Now, Yieldly, I feel like, did it pretty well. Like, they had a launch, they had their token launch, and they immediately had stuff on the
Yep.
Yieldly app that you could use. You felt safe using. There's not been any issues, and they've almost been out a full year. Give it a couple more, 4 or 5 more months, and that is something that I feel like is missing right now. And obviously, we see AlgoFi. They had a very good launch so far with their project, and they don't have their token out yet. The bank token is not out. You have Tiny Man. I don't know if there's going to be a Tiny Man token,
There
in
will
the
be.
yeah, I
I
didn't mean
believe
in the
it's.
near
Uh,
future, but like you see these projects that are legit, that are building the project, and they have a product for people, and then they do it. And then you have the other side, the flip side, which is hype that sometimes works out, like Opulus. You could have bought in on Opulus, and they did offer the SNFT, but they didn't do it using the Opulus token. They did it using cash via Republic. So there's, you know, that's the biggest thing I think you're seeing within the Algorand ecosystem is people want to jump on that hype train and then worry about the product later. I think it needs to get back to do your due diligence, find products that work, and then start building a position there if you see long term potential.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. Let's transition a little bit onto the Algorand Foundation's new CEO and what we think is going to happen at ETH Denver. Have you read anything about Stacey Warden?
Obviously I read through your tweets. That was pretty cool. I mean, you could definitely rattle that off. Her, kind of like her list of things she's accomplished and whatnot. But I obviously didn't know her before, and I recently just even found out that Sean Lee was leaving the Algorand Foundation. Kind of excited to see what he's going to be building. Obviously, he still says he loves the Algorand ecosystem, so hopefully he builds something amazing that we can use. I don't know that, but no, I think it's still a good move, and I do like that their focus, hopefully in 2022, is marketing, like getting the news out
Yeah.
there what
Yeah.
Algorand has to offer. Because guys, I am more bullish on Algorand than anything. Honestly, I haven't put out a video on my channel in a while because of what we've seen the past little bit with so many projects, some of them being rugs, some of them just not being transparent. I don't want to be someone who is pushing stuff out there on stuff that I don't fully, can't fully trust and believe in myself. So that's why I kind of took a step back from posting some of those videos and just certain other things. But I'm excited to see where Algorand goes with, having her at the helm of the Algorand Foundation, the marketing and all that stuff.
Yes, Stacy has quite the background, but as you can see here, part of her mission is to catalyze the growth of the Algorand ecosystem. I was reading that she plans to basically 4x the amount of marketing that they want to do. They want to double down on their DeFi efforts. So honestly, I'm super excited for this. Let's run through some of her background real quick. She started her career as, let's see, as a development economist at the Center for International Development at Harvard University. She then moved on to become an economist and program manager at the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. Then she was an international economist at the U.S. Department of Treasury. She was a director at the NASDAQ for 2 years, which is huge, an executive director at JP Morgan for 8 years, executive director for global market development at the Milken Institute for about 8 years, and is now the chief executive officer of Algorand. And she is saying that she has quite a few things up her sleeve for ETH Denver. So what do you think? What do you think she has up her sleeve for ETH Denver? As you can see here, she's tweeting, "Ooh, baby, I can't wait. I can't even wait for our ETH Denver announcements. I mean, the suspense is killing me, and I already know what I'm going to say. And the hashtags are a little bit of a clue. Developer grants and EVM to AVM. And I know they're speaking of the unveiling of C3 protocol, which I do have hearsay is going to be unveiled at ETH Denver, and they're going to kind of show the world what Algorand state proofs are all about. And I'm truly excited for that.
Yeah, I think I mean, obviously, I'm super excited for ETH Denver for Algorand to get that exposure. I still think 2022 is going to be a huge year for Algorand, especially the DeFi space. Now, yes, there may be some bumps, but C3 is a big one. I mean, you have AlgoFi that's still early on in its, adoption. Tiny Man just got listed, the big news at Coin Market Cap, so that's going
Yep.
to start
Yep.
getting eyes. You're going to start seeing Algorand in a bigger stage. You already have Scaramucci and other, public figures who talk constantly about Algorand when they get the chance. I put out a video recently that talked about the huge news with Bitcoin being used really in El Salvador with the whole, banking situation down there. So, I'm super excited and bullish for that. I'm excited to see what news drop at ETH Denver. I wish I could have gone, but obviously, Decipher was really close to me, just a couple hours
Yep.
away. I don't have extra money at the moment to buy a plane ticket to Denver, though.
Yeah, I really considered it, but it was a little too last minute for me. But I still almost just went just cause. I mean, I could have, but I decided against it. But part of me is regretting it. But yeah, that news about Tiny Man being listed on CoinMarketCap is actually a lot bigger than people think. But because this means we're probably honestly less than a week away before at least all of the quote unquote verified assets on Tiny Man start being listed on CoinMarketCap, which would be
Right.
big exposure for a lot of these ASAs. So maybe we could be having a ASA bull run soon if you pick the right ones.
My goodness, I'd love to see it because I got a few. I have a few that I've got a small amounts in. Obviously, my biggest bag is still Algorand, and that's where my biggest bag will probably always stay, unless like one of these things just runs crazy, and then I have a ton of money in it, like I've had with Opulus and even almost Yieldly at one point. But
Yep.
it's you're also seeing. I mean, Algorand's down what 5-6% today. I saw some people saying the charts look scary. Everything, are we are and Bitcoin I think is down 3 or 4% today, and a lot of people think it's going to drop back to like 40K and then it's rocketing up. It who knows, right? That's the $1 million question. If we knew that, we'd be millionaires.
Yeah, yeah. Nobody definitely knows for sure. There are definitely ways to make decent predictions, but that's all it is. It's just really guesses. I'm trying to pull up a chart right now, but I think I have too many things open and my computer's going pretty slow. But
Ronald
yeah,
said,
we are.
"Hey guys, I tried the testnet app and I can get in. The only game available is a chess game at the moment." Yeah, that Ronald is the game that they have in testnet, and obviously once they launch on mainnet, it will be one of the ones. And then I think one of the first games outside of that that's going to be launching is obviously I think they have like a tic tac toe game that might be another test one that they run, but I think the first one's going to be Clash Royale or actually, I think that's the one that they're planning to roll out first. So we'll see.
Yeah. I'm looking at the chart right now, and let's see. Maybe
Which
I'll
one you
pull.
got pulled up?
I got Bitcoin right now. Let's see. I'll pull it up. It's kind of a mess. Let's see. Make that a little cleaner. What are we at right now? We're at 40, about 42.5. It's not
Yeah,
terrible.
we touched the 50. I think it touched the 50, 50-day moving average and bounced off it pretty nice. But right, it's there's just so much.
It's actually, in theory, if it holds this point right here, it would actually hold the 50-week moving average, which would be good. If it gets below, actually just about 42.5, if it goes down about 200 and stays below, then we'll be below the moving average. But it does look a little bearish right now on the MACD and the RSI. However, I don't know if you can see this, but we were on this downtrend of the RSI right here for, I don't know, since October 18th, and we
Yeah,
broke it. We broke it on January 30th, and honestly, if we can bounce off this moving average or really just stay above this area, this might just be a decent correction in what could be the next leg up. But I am a little cautious about that, um, primarily because of this. This right here on the monthly is
mm,
probably, let's see, let's scroll this down a little bit. The most bearish cross on the moving average convergence divergence I've ever seen in Bitcoin. The last time it crossed was February of 2020 and uh, July of 2018. And as you can see, if you time this up with Bitcoin a little bit, let's see. We have this cross right here in 2018 that signaled another half year to 8 months of a downtrend. You had this cross right before the pandemic that had a nice like 20-30% plunge after that. And now you have this cross that is potentially signaling another bear market. So I have my eyes out for that. There, obviously, if we do take off, that could invalidate that. But
yeah, that's why I've seen a lot of people, and even some of them like that Martini guy, and some of the other guys I follow on Twitter that seem
oh,
to give decent, charting information and whatnot. A lot of them think, if we do drop down, it could drop to like right at that 40 mark, 40K, 41K. and then it could be a big push and a pop up. And if we do that, it would be something that could, we could see that big run that everybody's kind of been talking. But I mean, I think the Bitcoin greed chart or whatever is at like 50, which is neutral. So I don't know. It's definitely in that area where I'm still I'm still bearish. I mean, I honestly have a decent more money in cash right now than I have at certain other times, just because I'm waiting to see what's going to happen before I ape into the next leg up if we're there.
I'm actually surprised. I haven't checked this in a little while. Let me pull this up real quick. Surprised that you said it was neutral because we had been in extreme fear for months. It seemed like. Oh,
Right,
you
and
know
it's
what?
so
I'm
fast
gonna
to jump
close
all the
that.
way to neutral. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Just
I
going up
mean,
the bit it has.
you look at this chart and you go to the 1 year. Yeah, we bounced right up. I mean, to be honest though, if you had bought down at these lows, at peak fear, or down over here at peak fear earlier in June of 2021, um, you would have had some pretty great profits. And if you were selling above like 70 when we got towards peak greed, I mean, so maybe we are starting to see a leg up, but I'm still super cautious, and I agree. I am still holding quite a lot of cash. I am staking most of it on the stable USDC pool, and then staking that through AlgoFi. So
Yeah, I mean, and I like, I like the, what I'm staked in, but I'm also like, I'm not just like obviously looking at Bitcoin. I'm bearish still on Algorand. I think
yep.
Algorand could still bleed more, and that's why I have a lot of cash, because I see what the potential to 10x, or greater my money with Algorand more than I do Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is, I think it could run, and I think one day it could be worth, what some of the people guess, and in the hundreds of thousands, but I think that Algorand getting to 10 to 25 is a lot, more realistic, at least in the next, couple years. And so that's where I'm hedging my money. And so I'm waiting for it to correct. And hey, if we see prices lower than 80 cents on Algorand, that's when I'm going to start, buying back in. And so I saw some people saying today, going back to 50 cents. Hey, I'd I'd love to see it, because with everything that's happening right now in the Algorand DeFi ecosystem, if we go to 50 cents, that is a massive buying opportunity, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the chart right here, you have this green line that was a major support, which we broke obviously right here, and then that fell down to the second, or really the last most important support line, which it's currently holding really well right now. But if we do break below this long-term support line that we've been holding or above since March of 2020, then yeah, the three levels of support I'm looking at next are 86 cents, 76 cents, and 67 cents. If we do break all that, then I could totally see us come down to here around 50 cents. So
Yeah.
I would have to agree with whoever was saying that, especially if you zoom in right here, you can see we're on a very clear downtrend. This
Right.
is it's the trend is your friend until it's not. You don't really want to bet against the trend. You want to wait until the trend is broken to really assume that it is actually broken. You can't just bet, oh, this was the bottom, because we're still clearly in this downtrend.
Right.
So I mean,
And
of
the thing
course,
is, like Max, like so many people bet options, and your information is pretty much out there. These algorithms and these bots that are trading, they know where everyone's, they know the stop losses, and all this data is out there. And it's like, they know where the max pain is. They know where most people have bought. They know that most retail investors don't have the long-term thinking. Even if they say, oh, I'm longing Algorand, I'm longing, this news like this drops or something crazy happens and the market really drops, you're going to see all of them sell, and a lot of them maybe won't even get back in, or they'll ape into something that's not something they lost money on before, because they'll think they'll just get burned on it. And it's
I
like,
I mean, you see it even with going back to the zone launch. I mean, there's a lot of people that are upset that they're down today, but like, unless you were investing to solely make a flip today, then really, if you're holding for the long term and you think Zone or any other token is going to be successful in the long run, then you really shouldn't be worried that you're down today. In fact, you should be trying to see if you can get another
or
paycheck and get another paycheck into the market before the prices go back up. Um, So I totally agree. You know, when prices are down, you kind of see who actually is a long-term investor and who is just uh, just here on the ride up and then here to panic on the ride down.
Right. And there's a lot of that out there. That's it sucks, but that's just that's retail investing. And that's the reason why, you know, bots win a lot of times.
Yeah, Donald's asking, do we have any thoughts on algo decks? I mean, I have a couple thoughts. I've interviewed Alex two times, and the last time he actually had on Jeff Calloway with him, who is the president of Algo Capital. It was a really interesting conversation. I really do like the concept of algo decks. It does suck that U.S. users can't use it. Same with Canada, I believe, but that is only temporary, and also technically, it's just the interface that they set up that you can't use. So really, if you're aware enough of how to use the smart contracts without the interface, you could do it. Or
Yeah.
if somebody else wanted to make a copycat website, you know, they really could. They could, although because those smart contracts are decentralized, they're out there. It's really just the website that you're interacting with that's stopping you from doing it. But somebody could create another website and do the exact same thing. And we've seen that happen with Uniswap before.
Right.
Or you could honestly probably use a VPN and still use AlgoDex. But it is really interesting because Algo Capital bought the company that AlgoDex that owned AlgoDex, which was AlgoDev, which was a company started by Alex, the founder, and now Alex is the chief technology officer of Algo Capital, and they are trying to do a reverse merger with a company in Canada to take their company public. So if they're successful, it'll be the first Algorand native company that becomes a publicly traded company, which I think will legitimize the space and it'll bring a lot more eyeballs to the space. I mean, there are a lot of people that say that makes it a little bit more centralized, which it certainly might, but I'm looking on the bright side where it's going to bring a lot more attention and legitimacy to the space.
Right. And I'm excited for having an exchange on Algorand, a decentralized exchange, which is an order book. I mean,
Yeah.
for anybody who was getting in on the zone launch today, it kind of, it's cool and all. And I love swapping ASAs. I love the, user face of Tiny Man and how easy it is to swap and all that. But I love being able to put in limit orders. I love being able to put in stop losses and things like that. And you don't have that ability when it comes to Tiny Man. It's just you
Yep.
swap, you put your slippage, your tolerance levels and stuff like that, and then you go and then you hit the button and you cross your fingers. And even today is like I was kicked out like 5 or 6, 7 times trying to make a swap go through because my slippage wasn't high enough
Yep.
or the volatility was too high. And that's where it's like when you're able to watch an order book, and obviously
Yep.
you still may not get stuff all the time when it's super volatile, but if you're ahead of the game and you think that and you're good at watching a chart and you think it's going to touch this spot, you can put a limit order in, go to bed, wake up, oh, my order filled, and it's
Yep.
20% up because you knew how to read the chart and you guessed right.
Yeah, the order book exchange is a brilliant idea for all the reasons you just mentioned, but also you won't have that issue of slippage primarily because you can see the order that you want to buy right there. You can just click on it and click on that order and buy the order. It's literally right there, or you can just send a market order and wait for somebody to pick it up at market price. So. It's certainly a genius idea, but the other thing that Jeff Calloway from that interview brought to my attention, which I never even thought of, uh, you know how you mentioned with Tiny Man, you just click a button and cross your fingers and hope that the swap happens. Well, institutional investors are not going to do that. Institutional investors, they don't understand the smart contracts behind it. They don't just want to click a button and hope that what comes out the other side is what they're intending to come out the other side. So, he predicts that there's going to be a lot more institutional trading on an exchange like AlgoDex because the institutional investors can see the order. It's not like,
Right.
a liquidity pool that they're trading in that the content creator that owns all of the pool can just yank out any moment.
Right.
It's an order book that they can see the complete depth of the order book because it's all held on chain. So I do think that'll bring a lot more institutional confidence into the Algorand ecosystem as a whole because I didn't even think about that, but I completely agree that if I was an institutional investor with millions and millions of dollars, I wouldn't want to be just clicking a button and hoping what comes
Yeah.
out the other side is what I hope comes out the other side. It would be much more peace of mind to use an order book exchange and just be like, all right, this is the order that I'm going to get, and be able to see it right there and verify it that it's there because it's held on chain. So
Right. Yeah, and also it's just like there's so many people who trade with bots and who have algorithmic trading set into a script, and it's like you can't do that on a tiny man. You have to have a DEX with an order book that it can track and it can set those. You can set those parameters on. So yeah, it's going to lead to more adoption. I'm excited to have it in the U.S. where U.S. investors can use it without having to have a VPN or go the level deeper beyond the screen and do and interact with the smart contracts and stuff like that. So I can be patient. I don't really trade a lot. Most of mine are swing trades, if anything. I'll
yep.
buy when I see a lot of red in the market, and then 2 weeks later, a month later, 2 months later, when there's green, I sell it. I take the profit, wait, and rinse and repeat. One thing that I've actually considered doing, on a video series, maybe on YouTube or something like that, is actually like a trading challenge, and even thought about using SoFi, their platform, because it gives the ability for people to actually follow you and like watch your
Yep.
trades, so they can like see your buys and sells and like what your percentage portfolio is. But realistically, and thinking in the crypto space, because it's not that far fetched to double your money in a lot of crypto projects during a bull cycle, right?
Yep.
There's this past one, the past 2 years. I mean, how many cryptos have doubled in a small time frame? And if you really think about it, you take $2,000 and you double that 10 times, you're a multimillionaire. And so, and obviously, not thinking taxes and all that stuff, but that's the whole premise. And like, I even think of my small trading career when it comes to crypto. I've more than doubled Yieldly from time to time. I've more than doubled Opulus, obviously. Obviously, I didn't sell all of it like I should have. I definitely more than doubled that one. But, there's so many opportunities out there that it's like if you actually just got like zoned in on that and just tried to focus on just doubling 10 times, where could you be just, in a crypto bull market like that?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but like as you would get up there, if you turned 2,000 into 4,000, you
Oh,
might
I
be like,
definitely understand. And once you get to the higher levels, you got to have a lot of,
yeah,
there's got to be a lot of liquidity.
you're not gonna be making the yeah, and you're not gonna be making the same like risky bet. Like if you make your way up from like 2,000 to like 500,000, you're not gonna be making the same risky bet with 500,000. You're
Well,
gonna
no. Yeah, you may not be aping into zone, but like, say even if you just did it to Algorand, or
yeah,
or
yeah,
cryptos that are solid plays. Like I said,
yeah.
you still have to be a savvy investor. You still have to be good at swing trading. But I've doubled, like I said, I've doubled Yieldly, Opulus. Obviously, I think I still will double Zone. As it recovers from the bad launch and whatnot. So there's things out there. I feel like you just got to have a plan. So I've even thought of doing a series on that, seeing if I can't, uh, you know, create that type of a flipping channel type thing just to see how it goes.
I'll tell you what. Fill me in with a little bit more details on that when we talk later, because I might join the challenge. We can create some sort of content around seeing who's the best trader for 2022 or something. We can just
Hey,
start
there
small,
you go.
just for like a couple $100 or something small, nothing too crazy or whatever you want to do.
Yeah. And like I said, I think SoFi is a really, I mean, obviously SoFi, it's a custodial account. So that's the only thing. They do have
Yeah.
some crypto, but obviously almost all stocks. But, that's a cool platform where people can follow and track, even though, yeah, I guess everybody could track our wallets and stuff as well. But it's, you can comment and stuff like that. So it's a cool app to use.
Hey, I'm with it because there's actually a couple options trades I wanted to do in the stock market, but I've been honestly paying way too much attention to the crypto market to put any money back into my brokerage account. So,
Right. Thoughts on
all right,
Smilecoin?
let's see. We're gonna skip over this Russia Ukraine talk.
I don't. I'll tell you this, guys. I don't pay attention to like most, mainstream media news. Like I'm so out of touch when it comes to that stuff sometimes, just because it's like I just can't stand it. I don't even. I literally grew up. My dad made me watch. I'd come home from school and I'd want to watch like ESPN or even younger like Cartoon Network or something. No, Fox News, CNN, all those things. So like I'm at the age now where like I don't even care. Like,
Yeah, I mean, if he does invade Ukraine,
I mean, the World War III, what are we talking World
then
War III? Then I think we got bigger
then
issues in crypto
yeah,
market.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be great for the crypto market.
No,
Um,
especially since they just said, what didn't Russia just say they adopted Bitcoin as legal currency, or what did they come out and say recently?
um, yeah, honestly, I forget the exact rules, but yeah, it is like much more accepted in the country. I don't know if
Yeah,
it's legal tender
or if
or
it's like an asset, or
if
they're
they just made
securing an
like
asset.
sensible regulation. Yeah, I really don't know.
Yeah,
But that's good for the crypto space. But yeah, this would not be good for the crypto space, clearly. Do I think it's going to happen though? I don't know. There's a lot of saber rattling on both sides. And to be honest, our media is not that trustworthy when it comes to these things. So I don't know. My answer is yeah, if they do it, it's not going to be good for sure.
right.
Uh,
And but the thing is, like something like that, or like the crazy news you see, can be the news that like COVID was. I mean, imagine that. Think of how many people pulled out their money. I didn't touch. I actually. So this is kind of funny. I was working at a credit union at the time, and my money that I had in my 401k, my boss at the time was like, "Whoa, you have that in X, this." Investment vehicle, I guess you could say. It was like a fund. He was like, you need to add more risk. You're young. You need to put it in this instead. And so I literally had withdrew mine to allocate the funds into a different fund. So literally, but because it takes like the the thing we were using takes like 4 or 5 weeks to actually do that switch. Literally was during the entire or the biggest portion of the drop from the COVID fall. So literally, I ended up benefiting huge from there. But just think of like how many people sold at the top of that, and it got all the way down to that max pain level where it fell, and then it rebounded in 6 months. I think something like that could still happen in the crypto market. If we're going to see Bitcoin within the next year go to 100K or above, or even just back to new all-time highs, I feel like it's going to be on the heels of a very, very scary fall where blood in the streets, and there's a lot of worry and fear.
yeah, see, I mean, if you sold during the COVID scare, you really would have had only exactly a month to get back in before they started climbing back up
Yeah,
to new all time highs. So, which was honestly kind of crazy to watch in real time, to be honest. I didn't sell anything either at the time. Although there was one point maybe around right here where I wish I did, and then 2 weeks later I was like, all right, never mind, I guess.
right. And that's where I see us going with, and even looking now, there's some red there, and we're seeing, a
This,
little a pretty decent correction, but we're already rebounding from that, and as
yeah, but
long as
we are being rejected on the topic here. So like, I am concerned that we continue this downtrend on the S&P 500, um, especially when I zoom out and go to the weekly chart. You see right here, I mean, we're holding the 50-week moving average, and if we can stay there, then that's great. But if not, we always come crashing through this 100-week moving average and land either on the 200-week or the 300-week, which would really bring us back down to 335, which would be a total S&P correction of about 28%, which
yeah,
I don't think is impossible over the next couple months. The big thing is it holding this 50-week moving average. If it can and can continue back onto new highs, then that'll be amazing for the crypto market. But if it can't, I don't think the crypto market will decouple, primarily just because it hasn't. I mean, it's been so consistent with the moves of the broader market that most of my eyes are on this, especially the upcoming Fed meeting in the middle of March. The last one that we just had was kind of a nothing burger, so I'm hoping the next one is as well. But I mean, it's really a wait and see type of game, especially with the recent inflation numbers printing 7.5%. So
right. No thoughts on Smile. Smile coin, I still hold I think my Smile coin is worth maybe like $20 now. I think I had put like 200, maybe $300 in when it was first like at a penny or maybe a penny and a half, and should have sold it that one day it blitzed up to like 7 cents. But I mean,
damn, you're down that bad on it.
oh, I mean, I just haven't. I had it staked on Yieldly for so long. It was such a small amount of money. I was like, I mean, we'll see what happens. But now it's to the point where it's so far down. It's like, I mean, what's $50, $40? I'll just wait, and then at some point, if I want to move it out, I will. But this also gets me to another point. All right, and I don't know about you, but on Twitter, like Nocturne Fi, that's another one that so many of these projects were like they were all talking up, especially around Decipher, And then like the beginning of the year and a lot of this red stuff that, red part of the market we've seen, they've just kind of gone quiet, and they're nowhere to be seen. And then literally Nocturne Fi was the reason I bring that up, because they just started tweeting again and trying to get engagement back. And I'm like if that's not a red flag, I don't know what is. Like you just you ghost the community for a solid 2 months almost, after like nonstop engagement every single day, almost like a Smile Coin, where they were engaging and their platform was coming out, and then there were some issues and they said they resolved them, and then you never hear about them. But everybody's just staking. It's like, it's cool, but if you're just staking a coin that's ultimately going to go to zero, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's my issue. I mean, with Yieldly also, because I mean, let's pull up Yieldly. I love Yieldly, and we should talk about all the new pools.
Oh
Even
yeah,
my issues with Yieldly, I still enjoy Yieldly. But I mean, to your point, there's a lot of tokens on Yieldly that really don't have any use case, and that's also my issue with Algo Stake, because it seems like every coin on Algo Stake is just a kind of
community.
useless coin, and it's like,
Yeah.
and people are drawn in by these crazy APYs, like 225%. But when I was talking to the people at Block, they couldn't even. I mean, maybe it was just on my end, but I could not understand their project whatsoever, to be honest.
Yeah, I
You,
literally
you
went on
know,
their website and looked it up, and I spent like a good 30 minutes and left not knowing anything.
you know, Kitten Coin over here at 100% APR, which, and this is for the liquidity pool, which is cool and all, but I mean, unless like the price stays stable or it's going up and you're converting it to Algo or back into Yieldly or something, I mean, I can't imagine a lot of people think that it's going to be a token they want to hold for the next like 4 or 5 years. I mean, there's a lot of tokens.
Four or
There's a lot
five
of
years, 4 or 5 months, if this market does go bearish, a lot of these are going to disappear. I mean, I would
yeah.
even, everything that I stake on Yieldly, I even put a poll out let me see, a couple days ago. Everything that I pretty much stake on Yieldly, I turn into more Algorand, sometimes USDC, and obviously then moving into Algorand when I see dips. But I asked, let me go pull it, so we'll find it here. Yeah, I said, Algo fan, when using Yieldly Finance or Algo Stake to yield farm, what do you do with your daily crypto gains? 57%, that's 135 votes, roll their gains into more Yieldly. Only 31% roll them into more Algo. Only 3% roll them into USDC, and the other 8% was other. So it's just, which usually means they just compound it into maybe that asset that they're staking. But yeah,
I roll, for disclosure, I roll mine right now into USDC, but that's primarily because I've borrowed Algo, I've borrowed USDC, and I've borrowed Stable from AlgoFi, and
yeah.
USDC has the highest borrow percentage, so I pay that off first. So I use my rewards that I get on Yieldly to pay off my AlgoFi loan, essentially. Um, but once I become debt free, I have no idea what I would do with those tokens. I don't know if I would just sell them back into Algo or just sell or keep them in Yieldly and continue to compound. I'm really not sure. But it has been working kind of great to pay off my loans. Somebody is asking the thoughts on XET, and I like the project. I am staked currently in the XET pool. I'm also staked in the liquidity pool, and where is it? This one right here. And I'm also staked in the distribution pool. However, well, one of the reasons I like the project is because they do have a lot of formal backing. They were even given some sort of like accelerator grant through Microsoft like a year or two ago, which was pretty sweet. Um, there is one aspect I don't like about them, which is like maybe 3 or 4 months ago, or maybe not even, maybe it was like 2 months ago. I am really, really positive they intentionally dumped on their holders. It was exactly when they went live on Yieldly the first time, and they moved that date up by 2 days to perfectly time out with a vesting schedule, and then the price, which was like really crazily constant for like 2 months. It was literally like a perfect sideways motion, just like dropped significantly exactly as they went live on Yieldly. And I think they were trying to use that Yieldly hype to dump some of their tokens, which I found is unfortunate. And I even did a little digging and posted like 4 different pictures and asked for questions about it. and they never commented. And then like a month or two later, they just like liked the tweet. They were like, it was just like, and I was like, no comments on it. So that's a little shady to me. But you know, a lot of these projects are in it to make some money, and unfortunately, they do dump on their holders. That being said, I do think the project itself is really interesting, especially since it's basically trying to be a decentralized Netflix of really just in general, but it's a heavy focus on India, and the Indian market is huge. I mean, they have like 1 billion people over there in India, and they just legalized crypto with like a 30% tax, which I think is about the same as we have in the states right now for for selling it, capital gains. I mean, so I think it has a lot of potential. The fully diluted market cap is like 200 million, so it is a little bit high right now. But if it stays at a constant price, I have no problem stacking rewards. To be honest.
Yeah. I did a little bit of research on XCT when it very first like launched on Yieldly, and I even looked at their one of the platforms I think that they list their movies on or whatever, and that was alone enough to make me like, not say that it's a lost cause, but it's kind of it's so early to be jumping into some of these projects thinking that these projects are going to be the thing to disrupt the giants,
Yep.
the Netflixes, you name it, the YouTube, the like Theta trying to become a better YouTube and stuff like that. I mean, it's just they have such a grip on the economy and on the world. It's like it's going to take a lot, and I don't think we're yeah. Obviously, if they end up achieving one of those goals and becoming the next Netflix, I mean, the price you're getting in at now, yeah, you're probably going to be a multimillionaire one day. But you may have to hold through a lot of volatility, and there's always the chance that something better gets created down the line.
Yep. Yeah, I completely agree. And as
Plus,
for
I don't
this,
even know who the team is. I mean, I don't know. I haven't done enough research on their team to see if they're like legit, if or who they even are. I think they're based out of Dubai as well. Um,
as per this question we see right here, what are the tokens for? I mean, to be honest, I will not say that the tokens are a good investment because I have no idea what the use case is. For me, I recently switched over into the XCT pools 2 days ago, primarily because when I look at this chart right here, it is just so constant. You can just see it's basically, let me pull out this chat real quick. You can basically see it's a flat line from launch. The day it launched, it kind of came crashing down, but then it found a perfect floor basically at this 7 cent mark. So for me, I've just been using it to accumulate steady rewards that I can actually like calculate how much I'm going to get and base it on a relatively stable price. And via the staking pools, the distribution pools, and the LP pools, for me, it's been the way for me to generate the most stable rewards that I can roll back into USDC. And honestly, once I pay off those loans or once the market starts moving in a different way and this is no longer stable, I'll probably move right out of those pools.
Yeah, I think even what one of the guys said, Smile, like all ASAs aren't ready for prime time. I'm interested to ask you this question, kind of see your thoughts because I know you've been in the crypto markets longer than I have. I was not around for when Ethereum's rise in the DeFi space. So like the likes of the early days for Link or Uniswap or all of those things, and even maybe some of the earlier projects that maybe started and fizzled out, and Link and Uniswap took over and they became the bigger ones. So like I have not been around for something like that. So being early on Algorand, there's a lot that I'm going to learn, and I have learned in the last year and a half, buying and really following the news that I'm sure will help me as a trader and as an investor long term. But I would be interested to see, what did you see when with the likes of Ethereum rising and its, rise in the DeFi area?
Well, I mean, it definitely drew in a lot of excitement, which obviously brings in a lot of retail. But I will say, probably my biggest learning experience from the 2017 bull run that I participated in was riding it back down. Honestly, riding riding that bull run back down was probably my biggest learning experience. And making a lot of money in 2017 on paper because I obviously didn't sell most of it when I should have, and then pretty much watching it all disappear at a relatively fast and crazy rate, to be honest, because it was like a 90% correction, and some of the tokens I did hold are are basically useless today. Like nobody's talking about some of the projects that I was most bullish on in 2017. So that is certainly something to be wary about, especially with all of these ASAs, because just like a lot of the tokens that I thought were going to be great, 4 years ago, same thing. I mean, honestly, some of these ASAs don't even look like they're going to be great in the future. So like, that's already a red flag. But like, and I will say, in my opinion, back then there were at least a lot more interesting projects, and now everything's kind of faded into that like, meme coin, donation coin, some like weird social good coin that like actually just pumps the founders bags and they only put 10% in the liquidity pool.
Right.
Um, so I don't know. I, I'll just wrap it up with saying the unfortunate thing about this space is you'll learn your best lessons by losing money, and
Right.
you'll learn how to not do that in the future. And honestly, when I lost a bunch of money in the 2018 down run, it really taught me how to maintain and keep my money in this bull run. And even though we are down, we're now technically in a bear market, or so people say. My portfolio isn't suffering that much because I found ways to compound my cash, have different, methods of insurance to make sure that, my portfolio is safer from the volatile drops down. And most of that is basically having a plan and sticking to it, really.
Yep. And I think it's just, if these things pop and pump, you have to learn to take profit. You got to take
Yeah.
profit when you're holding these ASAs, because just like Smilecoin, just like, even some of the ones we're excited about now, Yieldly, Opulus, DeFly, there is nothing wrong with taking money off the table and not just taking it and moving it into another volatile asset, because that's what a lot of people make the wrong thing to do is like, everything's going up, you sell huge gains, you move it into another asset that you like because you think it's going to move or moon, but then the entire market goes down and you still lose those gains. Like
Yeah.
that's where holding, I mean, I saw a tweet today or yesterday, it was like, if you were holding cash the past year, you lost with inflation, 7.5%. If you were holding Bitcoin and you bought last year at this time, it said, you're down 20%. If you bought Algo at this time last year, it was like you're down 40 something percent. So there is, even though cash, here on, with a lot of the stuff we talk about with crypto, we say, cash is going away. It's still useful, and not maybe holding it in cash, but just holding it in a stable coin
Yeah.
or in a, something that tracks the dollar where you're not going to be attached to all that volatility. It's a good thing. And it helps you hedge, it hedges you against risk, and it lets you, be able to withstand some of the volatility. So you're not getting pissed when, the market's been red for 80 something days and you're just watching your gains that you spent, 6 months, gaining dwindle away.
Yeah, I will say the best thing I ever did was create and maintain a cash position. I keep it relatively heavy, but I personally, I mean, I'm not a financial advisor, but if I was giving any recommendations, I would say at least have 5% of a stable coin because, on really red days, that 5% is really going to turn into 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe 10%, depending on how much your portfolio goes down. And now you have a 10% cash position where you can buy the dip, and that red day goes from being scary to being fun because you're like, ooh, what can I buy? And bring my cash position back down to 5%. So honestly, that's really probably the best piece of advice I could give anybody. And the second piece, really, and no matter what you're looking at, determine if you're going to buy something, determine if you're buying it for years or weeks or months. Like figure out your time interval. Is this supposed to be a flip? Is this an investment? If you're investing for the long run, then you should also look at things like the fully diluted market cap and
Yep.
compare that to other successful companies or blockchain projects in the space and see what a reasonable market cap might be. And if that token runs up in price and the market caps are getting, the fully diluted market cap is getting close to, maybe a good competitor, you might want to consider taking some profits. Or if you're on a downtrend, like a very bad downtrend, but the market cap is still so far away from where its potential is, then you don't have to worry because in fact that token is just super cheap and you should just buy a little bit more of it. So there's a lot of things that you should definitely be paying attention to, but you really should ask yourself, like, how long are you planning to invest in this asset? Are you trying to hold it for years to come? Are you trying to make it just a quick flip? Because if you're just trying to make a quick flip, then yeah, if the prices go the opposite way you were predicting, then sure, get out. But if you were investing for the next 3 or 4 years, you can't be expecting green days for the next 3 or 4 years. So like you have to be planning to stick around through those red days. It's just there's no other way.
Right. Heck yeah. I don't know. Do we got any other questions in the chat?
It looks like we're wrapping up. Honestly, I feel like we've got them all. How about you?
No, I think we covered everything that we were gonna talk about at the beginning. I did want to say one last thing as we head out. The looks like I feel like the XGov thing for the governance thing is probably going to go through. It looks like a 90 something 97% results are in so far, or for voting for option A, and there's already 1.4 billion algos voted in. So
Let me see if I
looks
can
like
pull this up.
yeah, it looks like we're going to be having some expert governors in the near future.
Let's see. Stats.
Thoughts on Zone? Go back and watch the beginning. Whoever the person who just made that comment, I can't say the name, but we talked about Zone at the start of the live stream.
Why am I missing it?
The Governance Foundation website or whatever just shows staked voted.
Oh,
So
they
far
have it as well.
Yeah, they have it as 1.4 billion algos. 30.5 thousand governors have already voted, and the vote is already 97% A. So looks like that'll be going through, and we'll get to start voting on the next coming sessions, voting sessions about more of the details to fine tune that. So super excited for that. I'm obviously voted A, and ready to see what comes with that, especially with the new leadership now.
Yeah, I completely agree, honestly. Oh, sorry. Boom. Yeah, 97, 98%. Wow, that's kind of intense, to be honest. It's
Hulk
literally,
Algorand, you are blowing up my Twitter, man. You he popped in here. What's up, brothers? every picture he tags me in, literally, for the rest of the day, every time I log into Twitter, I got like 15 notifications, and they're literally all attached to his comments and his
yeah,
picture.
he's got a great Twitter page. He was in a space I was in once, and everyone heard his voice for the first time. And it was really great because everyone was just, I don't know. I think we were all expecting the Hulk, and
Let's say, did he sound like the Hulk? Or
no,
not?
no, no, no. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Australian accent. Am I right, Hulk?
So many Aussies probably coming from Yieldly and all the other projects over there.
For sure. Well, I appreciate everyone that stuck around to the end. It's been a great chat. It's been great to have you on, David, and we'll have to do it again.